There are two very different types of creators. Creator one shows up every day, posts nonstop, and pours their heart into their content, but they still can't get their audience to care, let alone buy. And then there's creator two. Creator two posts every now and then, but they somehow sell out every product, every launch, every time. And if you're watching this, you're probably creator one working twice as hard for half the results, wondering what do all the successful creators have or know that you don't. And today I'll be breaking down the 3 steps that separates an audience who grows from an audience who buys. And if we haven't met already, my name's Stan and I've been creating content, selling digital products, and building a personal brand from scratch for the past 12 months. I'm learning everything as I go, and my goal is simple: to share my lessons, my mistakes, and my breakthroughs so that you can grow faster than I did. So let's get right into the video. My biggest mistake, and the mistake that I see a lot of other creators make, is thinking that you need to make educational content early on in your journey. You're so focused on providing value because all you hear other creators talking about is you need to give value, you need to give more than you take, you need to educate your audience, and you need to give them as much information as possible. But in reality, that was the mistake that held me back, because I was too caught up in just throwing information in every content and every post and everything that I did, that I forgot I needed to connect with people. And that is when I realized that actually creating educational content doesn't grow or build your brand. It doesn't form connections. It doesn't build digital relationships like we're all trying to do. Think of it like this. When you start school, at the beginning of the year, everyone introduces themselves. You talk to your classmates, you do an icebreaker, you meet your teacher, and you spend the first week or two just getting used to being in the environment again, getting used to being around new people. That's when you get to know your teacher, where they graduated from, what they studied, a little bit about their life, and you also tell them about yours. Imagine if you started a class and your teacher didn't introduce themselves, they didn't talk about what they've been through, or they didn't even make you talk about who you are, what your name is, what you did the past summer, the things that you've learned, or what you like to do. You'd feel like an outsider in your own classroom. It wouldn't feel natural to speak your mind and to listen to your teacher talk all day because you know nothing about them. And social media works in the same way. Most creators think that providing value just means putting together a mini masterclass, throwing a bunch of information at their audience. But in reality, they don't even know who you are. Which leads us into point number 1, choosing your big idea. You need one idea that you stand behind with full conviction. You have to be ready to die on the hill behind that one idea or action that you want your audience to align with. For me personally, I'm creating content, I'm selling digital products. My lane is digital products. I want you guys to create your own digital product so that you can make money on social media and build a life of your own. That is what I personally believe in. That is what I personally want you guys to champion. Most creators who are all over the place never grow. They never have an audience who knows them for who they are and what they do and what they stand for. If you're all over the place, people won't follow you. Think about it. The most creators that you follow or you go to for a certain piece of advice, they have made it crystal clear what they stand for, what they do, and how they help. That is the same thing that you need to do. You need to pick the one thing, the one idea, the one action, so that if someone comes across your page, they're able to get a crystal clear picture of what you believe in. That big idea becomes the reason why people follow you. They need something to latch onto. We all have that one friend that we go to for specific advice. Why is that? Because they've made their line clear in the sand. Most people have different friends for different topics. You might have one friend who's a business owner, so you go to them for business advice. You might have another friend who goes to the gym, so you go to them for weight loss advice. And you might have another friend who's interested in credit, so you go to them for credit advice. It's the same way on social media. If you want to grow and build a brand and be able to build an audience of buyers, you need people to champion your idea or the action that you believe in. If this channel was about real estate, crypto, digital products, trading, there's no way in a million years that you'd want to click a video and watch it continually. Even if you did, you wouldn't stick around for a very long time. It is the same concept with your brand, with your channel. People need to know you for something. You need to pick your area of expertise that you want other people who are aligned with that same value or belief, which leads us to step number 2. Become a Marvel superhero. I look at this as giving your audience context behind your why. So obviously I can come on here and say I love selling digital products, but you don't really know who I am or what I've done unless I tell you my backstory of how I got into this position, or how my last business failed, and my first pivot and something that I always wanted to do was be a creator and help people online. That opens a door to knowing me as a person more versus me just saying, hey, I like to make digital products and I think you should too. Your guard will be up and you won't really trust me just because. You need a reason behind it. It's just like building relationships in real life. Your audience needs context onto why you started your journey. Think about Spider-Man. Spider-Man didn't start off as Spider-Man. He started off as Peter Parker. Peter Parker was an average person. He was going through normal, real life things just like all of us. He was bullied by his peers. His uncle died in front of him. He felt powerless in a lot of situations that he went through. He grew up away from his parents. He felt like a stranger in his own home, at school, and at work. That is a story that we all can relate to. And that is what your audience needs in order to champion you. Because as soon as you know the backstory behind Spider-Man, once he became a superhero, you become infinitely more attached to his character. People don't buy your product just because of the transformation. They also buy it because of you. They know your backstory. They know what you've been through to get to where you are today. They learn about why you started your weight loss journey, why you started creating digital products, or why you started real estate investing. They need to know these things so that when you create a product, they know the blood, sweat, and tears that went behind it. And even if you didn't have humble beginnings, even if you didn't struggle in the beginning, what was the defining moment that changed everything for you? It might have been a day where tragedy happened, or it might have been a day where you met someone and they completely sparked your interest into a new topic. You have to walk them through the emotions, through the day, through what your life was like before you started this journey, and what inspired you and what pushed you into the route that you're on now. Which leads us into our last point. Make the publish button your best friend. You can record 1,000,001 videos, but if you never click post, then nobody will be able to discover you. And if you think about it, it works the same way in person. If you never engage or have a conversation with someone, that conversation will never happen. Think about a life-changing conversation that you had. What sparked that conversation? What led up to it? And eventually you had to speak to that person. You had to say something. But what if you decided not to? What if you decided that you was going to keep your mouth shut that day and not say anything? What if your favorite creator, the person that has helped you the most on your journey, who has transformed or helped your entire life, what if they never clicked post? You'd never know who they are. You'd never be on your journey now, or even worse, consuming someone who isn't as good as them. You have to get comfortable with sharing. For the most part of my journey, I did not want to share my ideas, my beliefs, my values, because I'm a very private person. But when you coddle yourself and you hide all your values and your principles and beliefs under a rock, nobody knows who you are. Nobody knows anything about you. So how can your audience form an opinion about you if you never click post? If you never talk about your ideals, your beliefs, your missions, and your values? If you never show them the parts about you that make us human? You come off as a robot. You come off as someone who is just trying to get something out of them. Remember, at the end of the day, the goal is to build digital relationships at mass through content. Like, the whole point of being a creator is to build connections with people online, on social media. And to do that, you need to tear down that wall of trust. You need people to know who you are. It's the same way that you introduce yourself to someone in person. You tell them a little bit about your backstory and who you are, where you came from, and then you begin the conversation. And with every new person, you continue to introduce yourself to set that foundation. The truth is, you'll get tired of saying your story, your beliefs, and your mission far before your audience gets tired of you. What is the goal of a personal brand? To meet people all around the world through your phone. And that's literally what building a personal brand is. It's just making more people know who you are, what your mission is, and what you've been through. An audience of buyers aren't people who just think that you're cool. They're people who connect with you and see themselves inside of you and your product. And to do that, they need to know your story. They need to know your mission, your values. They need to know what big idea you believe in, what you're pursuing in life. The context behind it is what builds the trust. To have an audience of buyers isn't just having an audience who just buys anything that you put out. It's having people who actually believe in you and see a piece of themselves within you, your product, your brand, your content, your videos. Deep down, there's something that speaks to their soul, and that is what pushes them to buy. You don't spend your hard-earned money on just anyone. You don't spend a dime with no one that you don't believe in. You only spend it on people that you trust, people that you truly want to invest in. You want to see them grow. You want to see them win. You want to see their journey play out and have the fairy tale ending. And they want to be a small piece of that story. That is why people buy your products. And that is how you build an audience of buyers. It's not all about the sales. It's about the trust. It's about building digital relationships. So within my content myself, I've noticed that I haven't done the best job of sharing my story, my mission, and my values. And to be honest, this video is just me sharing what I've learned and what I'm going to implement moving forward. I want to show more of what it took to get to where I'm at, what pushed me to start selling digital products in the first place, the hardships that I had to endure while on this journey, while creating YouTube videos and promoting digital products and losing for a very long time. It was not easy, and I still haven't made it yet. It is still a grind, and that is the part that people love. That's the part that people want to see, and that is the part that you have to share. That's the part that your audience cares about. And if you like more content like this, I help creators and business owners who want to learn the skills of monetizing but don't know where to start or how to do it inside of my newsletter. It's called Economic Proof. It's completely free, and I share all my lessons, my resources, my breakthroughs with you guys at no cost. It'll save you from making hundreds of mistakes that I made on my journey to creating content, selling digital products, and building a personal brand. And I'm also putting together a step-by-step system that allows you to create profitable digital products, so you no longer have to guess if your product works or not, or if people will want to buy it. I'm giving you the exact same system that I used and my clients have used and have gotten us some crazy results even as a beginner. So if you'd like to check that out, I'll leave it down below in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next video.